Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to and sticking around for this presentation. I'll give you a minute. If you haven't scanned in yet, as in to check in, you just do it once for this QR code here. Please do so. There is a reward, a drawing for a $150 gift card. So I'll give you a moment to scan in if you haven't already. You just do it once, and you go into the drawing. I think it's actually a UR voucher, so there you go. Keep you coming back to campus. Okay. Look, I'll go ahead and move forward now. If you missed the scan, it is also on the door on your way out, as well as in the lobby. So today's presentation is From Lectures to Luncheon, Building Professional Relationships. And so that's what we're talking about today, how to build and maintain professional relationships coming out of university or finishing up at university. So for an introduction, my name is Tyree Barnett. I'm a careers and employment advisor here at Macquarie. I've been here at Macquarie now for the last 10 years plus, mostly in the careers and student employment team. Before arriving here, I actually worked in the States, in the U.S. Probably don't sound like a local. I worked in television news. And then after that, for a brief time, I worked in university admissions. So I've gotten to work with students. One of my favorite things about this job is helping you to tell your professional stories. I'm a storyteller by trade, coming from television news. So I just transitioned from one way to tell a story to another. And so what I love is seeing your transition from, first-year student or first-year postgrad student all the way up to graduation, starting off as young or continuing professionals, and then helping you with transferring your skills and your mindset to that next part of your journey. Also wanted to give a one professional tip to start off. My professional tip is what you're already doing, is to show up. Show up, get involved, invest in your career progression just like you did with studies. So set aside some time. It is a journey. Do one good thing a week, if that's all you can manage, and build yourself up that way. Use today's time to network with each other, to network with our staff, alumni, and our other parts of our team from the employability and graduate success, our management as well. And that's a great way to start. That's my one piece of advice, is to show up and keep showing up. Cool. So one good thing about networking, about building these professional relationships, is it's probably something you're already doing without realizing it. So we're going to do a little exercise right now. If I can get everyone to stand up, just doing a quick check of kind of what you're doing. Now, if this applies to you, you can remain standing. If it does not apply to you, you can sit. It's not a witch hunt, not trying to find out who's doing what. It's just a matter of seeing kind of where you are and giving yourself also an idea of kind of where you are in this process. So remain standing if you have a resume written to Australian standards, like Erica was talking about last session. Perfect. Box ticked. Remain standing if you have had a part-time job before, either here or abroad, doing anything. Doesn't matter if it's related to your degree or not. Okay, pretty good. All right. That's okay. Totally fine. It's a judge-free zone, safe space. Remain standing if you're a part of a student society or a student group while at Macquarie or even at a previous institution. Could be the Accounting Society or the Harry Potter Society or the whatever you like. Okay, a few more seats. K-pop Society, Cool. Remain standing if you have a LinkedIn profile. Cool, okay. Remain standing if you're part of a professional association, such as Chartered Accountants or Engineers Australia or any other professional association aligned with your study. That's all right. I thought that'd get a lot of people. That's okay. That's okay. So for those that are still standing, round of applause. You're well on your way to having, and you can all sit now. Thank you. Thank you for indulging me. You all will have a list of professional contacts and networks already, the ones that have remained standing the whole time. And you may be further along than some others in this workshop, but that's okay. I think that you all learn at least hopefully one additional thing from today. Now, for those that are seated, you can already see you're not alone, right? So it's not like you're behind. It's not like you messed up or that you're, starting from way behind. That means I have a lot more to show and talk about to you today as well. And there's a lot more that you can do from this point forward. And again, just by showing up today, you've already started that process of how do I build my network? How do I, being from another country, how do I develop a professional network here in Australia? So you're already well on your way to doing that. Cool. All right, so I want to tell a brief story as to why, because I'm a storyteller, right? As to why this whole thing is important. So for those of you who are seated, let me give you an example of what you could do from day one to improve and to expand your professional network at your next job, internship, or other professional opportunity. So recently an alum told us about how in their firm, management liked to get together and discuss with one another which interns, new hires are the most proactive and the most motivated. Now, oftentimes these managers will get together and brag on these staff or on these interns, say, hey, Chris is doing this, or Louise is doing that, or they're volunteering for this, or I'm putting them forward for this opportunity or initiative. Something management would love to do, right? Now, managers didn't try to swap new hires or interns for other projects or initiatives they had going on, especially the good interns or new hires. They say, oh, can I borrow Chris? Can I borrow Louisa? Can I borrow this person or that person? I have a great project that I think they really benefit from and would help them to expand their career as well. So there could also be opportunities for that intern or that graduate also. Now, meanwhile, the poor performing ones, the students or graduates that didn't perform so well or weren't really impressing, weren't considered for further projects. They may have just done just the work of their internship or that placement and didn't get a chance to do a lot of other work within the organization. And oftentimes it may have been talked about maybe not at all or just in kind of a so-so light. Jane, she's okay. Or Muhammad, he's all right, but doesn't really go above or beyond, doesn't really apply himself. Not sure if he wants to be here, that sort of thing. So obviously the moral of the story is that building professional relationships by acting like a professional and taking advantage and putting yourself forward for those opportunities will help you to not only enhance your career, but also meet others, not only in your team or working cohort, but other parts of your organization or other parts of other teams as well. And that, of course, will lead to more effective networking and more effective opportunities for yourself to move up, maybe more quickly. So let's talk about this thing that's called networking. What does it look like? How do you do it? What's a good picture I can show? Well, here's a good picture I can show about networking, right? So it is your support system. I often heard students say that your network is your net worth, and I think that's a brilliant way to say it. You're nodding, you agree. I stole it, it's not mine. You can have it as well. But I think it's a great point. So networking is basically all your interactions with other people. If you worked alongside someone, if you studied alongside someone, if you passed an exam or passed a presentation or did a great job in some sort of project, they're your network. So the more quality connections you make, we're not talking about trying to meet everyone in this room, but the more quality connections you make of people that you have something in common with or share a similar goal or a similar degree or even a similar background of where you come from, then the wider and more useful your network grows. So you can see in this diagram from this person, once they get to know a few other people, then they get access to those other people's networks as well. So it builds, it's like a web, right? And so that's, again, why you want to make sure that you're networking with worthwhile people that can help or assist or help get you somewhere, or vice versa, that you can help or assist or help get them somewhere as well. So networking do's and don'ts. Obviously, do network broadly and talk to everyone. But in saying that, do consider your office culture. When we were discussing and creating this workshop, we did mention that as a team that, look, for some organizations, the CEO or the managing director or whomever is quite, senior at the top. Maybe not always as accessible. So you want to consider your organization. Is it a flat structure? Meaning that, do you have direct access to your manager or your manager's manager? Are they open for those open conversations and casual chats? Or is it more tiered? As in, do you have to go to their assistant? Do you have to go to your manager? Do you have to set up some sort of formal meeting? Excuse me. Beforehand? So what is the environment like? What's possible, right? So you do want to consider your office culture of where you're working and what is feasible for yourself. Nothing more embarrassing than walking up, getting all that confidence and saying, I want to talk to the senior director of blah, 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 and then saying, well, do you have an appointment? Because that's how this works, So keep that in mind. Remember also to ask open-ended questions and listen attentively. Just for clarification, in case you don't know what an open-ended question is, anything that doesn't require the word yes or no as an answer. Requires someone to tell a story, to give a bit more detail, or to give a bit more insight. The more insight, details, little kernels of knowledge they give, the better for yourself, right? So you can ask those open-ended, intelligent, not so easy to figure out questions. Not an interrogation, keeping in mind what the person can actually answer or no, but think a bit more in depth about where they are, what they do, and how they can assist or educate you a bit further. All right? The don'ts. Don't think of networking as just adding people on LinkedIn. Don't focus on getting work, as in getting a job for yourself or asking them to do something for you. Networking is more of a long-term strategy, right? So yes, at the end of the day, the perfect result is that you get a job, or that you get hired, but that shouldn't be the only result. And so that shouldn't have to be at the forefront of your focus. Also, if that person doesn't have a job for you, or if that person is not in charge of hiring, then that's either a yes or no, I can or can't help you kind of question. And then that relationship or that conversation kind of ends. And, sometimes it's kind of hard to pivot from there to something else. So just keep that in mind. It's the long game. Cool. So one great way to network, especially in opportunities or venues like this where you're talking with one another and getting to know other people, is having an elevator pitch. Show of hands, have you heard of an elevator pitch before? Good, good. For those that haven't, again, totally fine, because I'm going to explain it. So it is a 30 to 60 second summary of yourself, following these points here. The idea is that you're on an elevator or a lift. You're going up a few floors. It's going to take about a half a minute to a minute. Someone steps on who's really senior or professional, or someone whom you really want to impress. So you've got 30 to 60 seconds to pitch yourself to that person or to those people to start a conversation. You're not trying to get a job. You're not trying to get hired on the spot. This is not Shark Tank. But it's more to start a conversation, or if nothing else, say, hey, I'm James Smith. Look me up on LinkedIn. Let's have a coffee. Let's have a chat. I got to go right now, but I'll talk with you further when time permits, sort of thing. Does that make sense? Cool. I've got an example, a written example of one on the next page, and then I'm actually going to have you practice with the person next to you. Low pressure, again, safe space, but we'll go through it one step at a time. So, my sample pitch. Here's my introduction. Good morning or afternoon. My name is Tyree Barnett. What am I studying and why? I'm studying a degree in journalism because I love the idea of telling someone a piece of vital information in a creative way. I'm also a curious person and I enjoy learning new things. Very simple, right? Career goal and passion. What do I want to do? After my degree, I'd love to be producing a groundbreaking podcast or digging into research for an investigative story for television or digital media, right? Immediately reachable goals, not too over the top, not too far reaching. It's what I want to do. What do I want to do when I graduate? What's feasible for me? What I'm doing now? Well, I'm currently working as a freelance journalist for a few small papers around my suburb, and I'm also taking a class on podcast creation through LinkedIn Learning. Pro tip, by the way, you all have free access to LinkedIn Learning, I believe, for a certain period after you finish up at Macquarie. LinkedIn Learning is a great resource. You can go online, Google LinkedIn Learning MQ to log in using your student information, your email address, and your iLearn password for free access. Once that free access ends, it didn't cost money. But it's a great video tutorial library on all sorts of skill sets. So my end, what am I going to say to help spark a further conversation? What sorts of activities are you involved in? What do you suggest I do further? Do you like podcasts? What's your favorite podcast? That sort of thing. Starting a conversation, something that the person can talk about, something that's accessible to them. Does that all make sense? Cool. Okay. I'm going to go to this screen now. Now with the person next to you, again, low pressure, just follow these points. Of course, apply that to yourself, wherever you are currently, if you're studying a degree, or if you finish your degree, or even if you're just starting out. What are the immediate next steps you want to do? I'll give you a few minutes. I'll wander around. I won't eavesdrop, But if you have any questions, just raise your hand. I'm happy to try to answer. I'll also toss over to my colleague, Sue. Sue can also walk around and assist with any question as well. Otherwise, give it a shot. I'll give you, we'll go 5 minutes. Got about 3 more minutes, so if you haven't switched, switch soon. Two-minute warning, 2 minutes. All right, I think we'll wrap up there. Thank you for trying that out, putting yourself on the spot. I really appreciate it. How did that feel to everyone? Was that a bit helpful to talk about yourself, to talk about your motivations? Show of hands if that was helpful, something you hadn't thought about before? Yeah? Cool. Great. Look, that's a great first step to networking, being able to talk about yourself. You know yourself the best. You can go to bat for yourself the best. No one's going to know you're in the room until you speak up. So do keep that in mind. Keep working on that pitch. Keep perfecting it. Keep getting better. I've got a video that I want to show now that is one of my favorite ones about the elevator pitch. I'll play it now.
Hi, my name is James, and I'm a finance major.
Hi, my name is James and I'm a finance major.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I'm a business major.
Hi, I'm Joe and I'm an accounting major. Hi, I'm Joe and I'm an accounting major.
I'm Id. And so I'm the oldest out of 5 kids. I'm the president of the Organization of African Students. My leadership experience has prepared me for my career. I have been the residence assistant for 3 consecutive years, the head teller at my local bank. Also, I have been the president of the Organization of African Students. I have volunteered a lot of time at my local church. And lastly, I'm the oldest out of 5 kids. I can handle anything.
Hi, I'm Pat. I'm an accounting and philosophy major. I didn't really love accounting, but I fell in love with philosophy when I first got to school. And I also was very into my intramural hockey team. Hi, my name's Pat. I'm an accounting and philosophy major. And you might be asking yourself, well, that's a strange combination. But what I loved about it was that I used my creativity in my philosophy major, and I got a great management experience in my accounting. I think this is going to be a great mix for when I start in the business world.
Majoring in business, I got to take a lot of different classes. I studied accounting, I had finance, IT, there were statistics, marketing too, but I also took classes in art history and English because I wanted to have a well-rounded education. I didn't want to be too narrow. So I did that. I did a lot of stuff outside of class too. I played some intramural volleyball, which was really fun. I'm a business major, but I've also taken a lot of liberal arts classes to round out my education. In addition to my studies, I've been a peer mentor to a younger classmate, as well as played on the intramural volleyball team. While they may seem like different activities, they've both helped me with my communication skills as well as my team building.
So, do you like me?
Thank you. Appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed watching my video as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you for your time.
So shameless plug at the end for PwC there, but you can also see from that video how you can talk about other aspects of yourself. It doesn't always have to be professional or internship or work integrated learning or case study related. It can also just be what else there is to you as well. So again, things that you can weave into your elevator pitch or weave into how you talk about yourself to employers and people of influence. So this slide, just to again reiterate, networking is not asking around for a job. It does have a good cycle, though, of how you first meet people all the way up to staying in touch and keeping those contacts warm, right? There's nothing worse than having someone useful in your network that you hadn't spoken to in 5 months. So you do want to maybe have a strategy or a habit of once a month an email or a LinkedIn message or a text message or some other way to keep these individuals warm, excuse me, and keep in touch with them as well. So that's what we mean when we say nurture relationships within networking. Your career could change drastically in 3 to 5 years' time, and so could the people that are able to help you out as well. So do keep everyone in mind. I want to talk a bit about how to network, like how to actually go around and do it, right? Prepare, just like you would research for your cover letter or resume or an interview. Research your industry and company of your choice or current employer. Stay up to date on the latest industry news and share these updates on social media for those that are on LinkedIn, as well as for those that are part of professional associations. Use the news and tips and updates from those associations to just reshare or repost as well in your own social media. Treat every interaction as a potential networking opportunity, especially around your office or the university or the classroom, etc. You never know who could be that person that could help you or that could unlock a door for you potentially. Start locally. Start with people you know, people in this room, your classmates, your roommates, your suite mates, your flatmates, your professors, student conveners. Many of them would have had maybe some industry experience or some research history that is worth tapping into and knowing about, or at least being aware of as well. Join professional associations related to your area of study or career and be active in them. Attend the meetings or the webinars. Easy to attend webinars. Turn your camera on. I'm going to reiterate that a little bit later on. Or go to in-person sessions like this. You're already, like I said, doing that first step just by coming here. Use LinkedIn and visit the Macquarie University alumni page, as my manager Susan pointed out earlier. You can log into LinkedIn, go to the Macquarie University page, and then search for the alumni tab kind of midway across the right. And you can see what other alumni have studied at Macquarie University, where they're working, what they're doing. And you can even narrow that search and find people that have studied similar degrees or your same degree, what they're doing, what their skill sets in, how their careers progress, that sort of thing. And then informational interviews as well. Does anyone know what an informational interview is? Yep, I think I saw one hand. Really simple. It's an interview just to gain information, to get the person to talk about themselves. People love talking about themselves. It's not, are you hiring? Is your company hiring? It's, how'd you get to your job? Oh, wow, that's so interesting. What's the hardest thing about your day? Or what is like the most crucial piece of software technology or skill set that you feel like people don't have enough of in your industry? You know, really getting these in-depth insights that would help you to grow your career and better inform your career choices is really what informational interviews are about. And you can find people to interview informationally, of course, by the same means we just mentioned. Now, where you can network. I thought maybe instead of a list, pictures might be a bit more engaging, but I'll talk through a couple of the photos. So how many of you did a PACE unit or Work Integrated Learning unit? Show of hands. Nope. Most of you are postgraduate, fair enough. How many of you have done or as part of your degree, have done any sort of case study or industry-facing exercise or activity? Any of that sound familiar? Show of hands. A few? Yeah. Okay. So these are one opportunity to network with. Also, careers events such as this one, other fairs, conferences, not only the ones we're holding, but also the ones we advertise on Career Hub, or also known as Employability Connect. Other events that professional associations are doing or other networking bodies that you're interested in, attend those as well, like I said, whether they're in person or virtual. Student groups, volunteering, social gatherings in or around the office, great places to network. The picture of one of Macquarie's, I think it's Price Theater, here on campus, great place to network. You know, start locally with who's around you. I've got a picture there. That's a very small than I wanted picture of LinkedIn's alumni page from Macquarie, but another great place to network. Again, we talk about those professional associations at the top of the presentation, student groups as well. Anyone think of anything else? Yeah, basically any and everywhere. Anywhere there's going to be people that have professional backgrounds or that are in professions of interest to you, be prepared to network and put your best, elevator pitch or foot forward. So a little bit about networking online. We're almost finished, so we'll have some time for questions at the end if you like. But I do want to touch on networking online because that's a needed skill set now as well. Again, turn your camera on. People don't do that. Students I meet with for presentations or for consultations don't always do that. It's a great way to stand out. If I've never met you in person, if you've never been to the office before, but you turn your camera on, I know what your face looks like. I can associate your face to your name. So when I see you, I can say, hello, Mohammed. Hello, Stephanie. It's you. You know, very simple thing. When you do that, of course, ensure your surroundings are tidy, right? Clean up, hide posters, nice little plant, whatever, something minimal. Think minimal. What can I have minimally in my background so that I'm professional, well lit, that sort of thing. When you can, go into the office when you first start a job as often as you're allowed. You know, a lot of places now, hybrid work, you can kind of set your own schedule as terms of going in or out of the office, but go in as often as you can, at least at the beginning, to set up that relationship and to get, again, your face to your name as well. Embrace professional online or in-person events, especially the online ones. Follow up with speakers of any webinars you join for further chat or just further engagement, or just send them a LinkedIn request with a description of how you know them or why you're linking with them. And then connect with others, of course, as well. Now, other tips. I think many of you did say you had a LinkedIn profile, which is great. How many of you have a current photo of what you actually look like now on your LinkedIn profile? Great. If you know, that's the first piece of homework. You know, you're all dressed nicely. You're all on campus. Go out, find the light, take a photo, post it on your LinkedIn profile. Be very careful of what you and your friends post about you on other social media. That's just for private use. Maybe privatize or put guards around those other social media so that anybody can't just go and search you out. Sometimes employers do search your other social media for a bit of background. I don't know why. I don't love that they do that, but they do that. And so if you're worried about what they might find, make it private. Think carefully before adding work colleagues to your social media. You know, if they're useful, great. If they're where you currently work and you're looking to go somewhere else, just think about, is this person worth connecting with, or you know, should I just kind of leave it? Privacy settings, and then of course with LinkedIn, the same general rules apply as real world etiquette. When you're sending an invitation to someone that you may not know very well, LinkedIn gives you an option to add a note explaining why you're wanting to connect. Write something in the note, you know, as to why you're wanting to connect. Otherwise, that person may think, oh, you're a salesperson, or you're a bot, you're some sort of AI, you're not real, I don't know what you're doing, so I'm not going to accept your invitation. I think I saw a hand here. That's a great piece of advice. Thank you. So those that couldn't hear, she recommended, what was your name? Zareen. Zareen recommended to Google yourself. I had that in a previous presentation, but I thought it might be too much information. But yeah, that's a great tip. Google yourself. If you can't find, if there's too many people with your name, maybe add Macquarie University or add some other differentiating factor to get yourself and see what pops up. You would love, of course, for your LinkedIn profile to pop up first or near the top, or maybe an article you published, or maybe a piece of research you're involved in, or a presentation you gave or something. If nothing pops up, or if the wrong things popped up, then there'll be some homework for you as well. As Zareen said, you can go through and start to clean that stuff up, privatize it, lock it down, that sort of thing. Great advice. This is why LinkedIn is valuable, because you can create and control your public image, your public brand. I think a lot of you said you were on LinkedIn, so I won't spend a lot of time here. You can also access jobs on LinkedIn. You can also see within those jobs and companies whom you may know that's already working at that company. You can find and maintain connections of interest. You can follow companies. You can join professional associations, online groups as well. And again, be active. Post, repost, share, comment. Try to have a footprint or a show of regular activity on LinkedIn so that if I'm a recruiter and I'm looking at your profile, I can see that if I message you on LinkedIn, you're going to answer it because you were just online on Tuesday or Monday, or you just posted this thing about something that's of interest to me, so I can see you're active on the platform, right? So next steps, just yell them out. What do you think your next steps are from here? What's the next piece of homework you think you should be working on? How many? Go ahead. Good point. Join as a student member or as sometimes as a early career starter or member. That's a good point. The gentleman asked, what was your name? Carl? E-Carl. E-Carl mentioned he's going to join a professional association within his degree or career choice. They are expensive sometimes for membership. What you can do is join as a student. Many times they're free or heavily discounted memberships, or join as an early career starter or something along those categories, which will also be discounted. So it won't be as much as a full professional member. If you do find it's cost prohibitive, still look at the resources that the organization has, follow their social media, and then join as a full member when you have a job with funds and whatnot. Another tip potentially, when you're doing your taxes each year, a lot of the professional membership dues can be tax deductible as well. So that may be something to keep in mind too if it applies to you. Otherwise, here are some quick ideas. So you've mentioned join professional associations, clean up your social media, create or update your LinkedIn profile with a picture of what you currently look like now, develop or fine-tune your elevator pitch as well, are some ideas. And all contributes to your professional brand or to your professional persona, which will then help you with developing and building those professional networking opportunities. So again, stay in touch, please. You have access to our services for up to 18 months after you graduate. On this QR code, it gives you access to our LinkedIn group, our Facebook group, Employability Connect, which is how most of you probably registered for today, if not all of you, as well as the bottom left there is Career Zone, which is careerzone.mq.edu.au. It's an app. So if you go to your app store and just Google MQ Career Zone, it gives you instant advice, resources, information sheets, all kinds of things to help you to prepare for that next step of your professional career. This is where we are. Sorry. Thank you for attending this session on building a professional network. Forgot to fill that in. We have a presence now at 18 Wally's Walk on the ground floor. Same building as Service Connect, where you go for all your academic related questions. We're just, if you walk in, we're on the left-hand side in the Learning Center with the Writing Center and academic literacies as well. So you can come up any day during business hours and ask any question you like around career and career progression. We'll be there this afternoon as well. Finally, these are other current opportunities open to you that my colleagues at MQSC are also hiring for that you can keep in mind. These are all on Employability Connect, otherwise known as Career Hub as well. And then questions, but I also want to show, I think there's one more slide. Yep, up next, stay in this room. We're going to have our panel discussion facilitated by our Director of Employability and Graduate Success. These will have some Macquarie alumni who either are or were international students, and be a great way for you to hear about their journey and their tips. Otherwise, I'll go back to the questions slide, and we've got a couple of minutes. Invite you to ask any questions you like or any clarity that's needed. Okay, I saw your hand. Sure. So the question was basically, how do I reach out on LinkedIn to Macquarie alumni in an engaging way to get them to want to connect? So look, whether or not they respond to your request is kind of out of your control. But what you can do, I guess one pro tip I can think of is to look at their profile, find something they did that you may have also done or something in common. Maybe you're part of a similar student association, or maybe you interned the same place, or maybe they graduated just a year prior. Try to find some deeper connection and use that to leverage as to why you want to connect with them. That may tell a person, okay, this person's already thought about what we have in common. We do have a similarity. There is something that, and they're coming from a point of knowledge, so there is something that I can pass on to them or give to them that they're going to take seriously because they've thought carefully about what we have in common and what we've done collectively. In general, if the student is active and online, students enjoy and like helping other students, especially international students, because you're all going through a similar thing. And so if they're active, hopefully, they get around to it. If not, get around to responding or accepting. If not, just move on to the next person. Yeah. Good question. Other questions? Cool. If there are no other immediate questions, I'll just hang around the front for a bit. Otherwise, that's the end of my presentation. And like I said, the next panel will be in this room. So you can just hop up, take a stretch, go to the restroom, what have you, and we'll meet back here at top of the hour, which gives you exactly 10 minutes. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. I took something from it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your help. You did. You did. Our part's done. And microphone.